Dear friends, many of you may know me personally. For those who don't, my name is Dmitry Todorov. I live in San Diego, California with my wife and my son. I was born in the country of Ukraine. I moved to San Diego, California in 2004 from Odessa, Ukraine. I was invited by my American friends to set up Bald Eagle Security Services, a security guard company here in San Diego. I wish I would never do this kind of recording in my life. Unfortunately, some devastating things happen in my country, as you know from the news. And while we cannot control it from here, we definitely can help to those who need our help the most. This was right after 7 p.m. on February 23rd, exactly 2 weeks ago. While I was here in my office working on some emails to my clients, I had one of my computer screens open on the news page. Suddenly I saw a breaking news line coming through saying that Russian missiles just landed in Kiev, Ukraine, Kharkiv, Ukraine, and Odessa, Ukraine, my hometown. My first thought was that was some kind of computer prank or virus. In a complete disbelief, I refreshed my computer screen, but it did not change. I restarted my computer, it didn't help me either. Here I started realizing that this could be the truth. Unbelievable, but truth. I immediately called my friend in Odessa, Ukraine, who still lived there with his family. This was right after 7 p.m. our time or 5 a.m. their time in Ukraine. My friend confirmed, my friend family were awake, and he confirmed that they all woke up because of explosions. 3 explosions that just happened because the missiles landed somewhere on the outskirts of Odessa, Ukraine. They live in high rise. The building was shaken, the windows were shaken. They all woke up. Bombing at 5 a.m. on around the morning. City with over 1 million population. Last time someone was bombed in Ukraine was 4 a.m. June 22nd, 1941, when my country was bombed by German Nazi troops over 80 years ago. So my friend looked outside his window to confirm there were a dozen cars lining up at the gas station trying to get gas and drive, fleet. My friend was in speechless shock, so we ended the conversation at that time. I immediately called my wife, who has all her family and lives in Odessa, Ukraine. She was on the freeway driving from my son's school, taking him back home. I told her to exit freeway immediately so I can tell her some devastating news. So she called in Ukraine. After my call, she called Ukraine to speak to their relatives and instructed them to jump in their cars and flee immediately, heading to Moldova, where my mother lives right now. She has a house over there. My wife was probably the only one in the family who saw this was coming. So a few weeks prior, she started shouting at their family members to make sure they have their cars filled with gas every single night before they go to bed, and get ready the emergency bags and documents ready to leave Odessa, Ukraine any minute, like she thought this was coming. My cousin and her 2 kids and husband also live in Odessa, Ukraine. However, first they did not take this seriously and wanted to stay in Odessa, Ukraine even after first bombing. My mother, she's 81. She stayed with her for a few months after my father passed away, November last year. However, 2 weeks prior to the bombing, she had to go back to Moldova for a few days to grab some documents. Suddenly, by accident, she's stuck in Moldova because her documents had to take time to renew before she could go back to Ukraine, to Odessa, Ukraine. So she remained in Moldova. So my wife's family, 7 adults, and their 5 little kids, loaded in 3 cars with a few little bags, left Odessa in 2 hours across border to enter country of Moldova to hand to my mother's house in Moldova. Later the same day, and the following day, the border of Ukraine became absolute chaos and mess. On the following day, the president of Ukraine shut down the border for all the men to declare total mobilization for a war with Russia. My cousin's husband was enlisted into National Guard, and machine gun was issued to him on spot right after mobilization was announced. He eventually convinced my cousin to take their two kids and leave Ukraine for Moldova, while still there is no direct shooting happening in Odessa streets at that time. She jumped in a train with her two little kids and couple bags and proceeded to Moldova. They were met by my uncle at the border of Moldova, so now they all safely joined my family in Moldova. However, her husband and dad of two little kids is guarding Odessa boundaries somewhere in Odessa right now with a machine gun ready to offload anytime. One of my wife's brothers, Kirill, who fled Moldova with his family on the very first day, he is also pastor at the Grace of Jesus Christ Church in Odessa, Ukraine. It's a small church. It's a part of a chain of churches, and they have branches in Europe and US. From day one, while in Moldova, he, with the support of some small funds of his church and help from my other cousin Sasha, who lives in Moldova, she's local, they set up a so-called evacuation logistic hub. So what they're doing right now, they coordinate the refugees' transportation from any part of Ukraine into Moldova, meet them in Moldova, provide them with food, warm clothing, and temporary shelter, then coordinate their departure destination to either Germany, Romania, or Poland. They are renting small buses and minivans and sending the refugees to any country of Central Europe when it's confirmed that they will be met and placed in a government-supported temporary shelters in any of those countries. To date, they received in Moldova and distributed over 200 refugees to different locations in Europe. These are mainly women and with little kids and their pets. Most of them have no money or any clothes except for the one they wear right now. Their husbands and dads of their kids are staying in Ukraine and fighting Russian enemy. As you all probably watch the news, not all of them will ever see their family and kids ever again. All my relatives in a small village of Moldova participated in this goodwill operation. Every their house is filled with refugees who are expected to be distributed to another country through the help of my wife's family and my cousin Sasha. I called my mother the other day, and on the background I heard some kids running and some little dogs barking on the background. My mother confirmed they were refugees. She never met them before. She fed them, and they were there waiting for Kirill to form a group to fill in a bus and take them to Germany or Romania. As you may know from the news, in the first 2 weeks, there were over 2 million refugees fled Ukraine. They expected this number to be at 5 million in 2 weeks from now. My wife and I wired some money to them in the last 2 weeks. However, with the increasing number of refugees and the gas price at $9 per gallon in Germany, this became a huge financial hardship and responsibility for us. My wife and I set up an account through GoFundMe to try to raise some funds to help them to evacuate more people arriving in Moldova from the Ukraine every day. Once money received on the account, they will be immediately wired to my wife's brother Kirill using Western Union, the only financial outfit that is available in Moldova to receive a quick transaction from the US. As I mentioned before, Kirill is a pastor at the Grace of Jesus Christ Church, and he is in charge of all the coordination, the meet and greet, shelter, and transportation of refugees, mainly single moms and their kids. These people cannot stop crying and still don't believe there will be a safe place for them and all their kids. We are hoping, with help of our friends, you and your friends, we get that this desperate need of funds to people that just want to be alive. Only together, standing shoulder to shoulder, we can help other who needs our help the most. I want to ask every one of you to forward this email to all your friends and share this video and our GoFundMe account link on all your social media, because we believe no one can be irrelevant to watch other people dying from the bombs and missiles in the middle of the night in the center of Europe in 21st century. Thank you very much for your time. You watch this video to the end. Thank you for your open heart and any help that you may offer at this time. People of my country just want to be alive. They're not asking for anything else. Thank you very much to you all.